Welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Profit Play podcast here on our YouTube channel. Today is Friday, December 30th, and we have a jam-packed show for you guys tonight. We have 3 big college bowl games to discuss, 4 NFL games, player props for both college and NFL. We're bringing back Dog of the Weekend and finishing the show off with the podcast parlay. Joining me tonight, we have Trey Teats and guest picker Blake Barto. Blake, how's it going tonight?
Not too bad, Bear. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I heard Clemson's kind of messing you up right now. Is that true?
Yeah. If you see me in and out of the screen, it's because I got money on Clemson -4 tonight.
So Blake's a guest picker for tonight. We're going to start having a new guest picker for these live shows every week. So if you're interested in coming on the show, comment below, and we can set something up for the future. But let's get into these games for this weekend. We're going to start with the Sugar Bowl, Alabama versus Kansas State. Alabama is -6.5. The over-under is 55.5. Trey, I'll start with you.
Yeah, thank you for starting with me. Everyone knows that I am a K-State fan. I got some ugly comments every time I wear a K-State shirt from some KU fans. So shout out to our community. But the line movement has been pretty weird in this game. It started at Alabama -4.5, went all the way down to Alabama -2.5. Now it's Alabama -7. Give me Kansas State here plus the points. I do love Kansas State. I'm going to take them in an alternate spread. I'm going to buy a half point. They're at +7 right now, but I'm going to take Kansas State +7.5 at -122. The trends are good for it. Alabama's 0-4 ATS in our last 4 games versus the Big 12. Alabama's also 1-5 ATS versus a team with a winning record. And Kansas State is 4-1 ATS versus a team with a winning record. So give me Kansas State plus the points.
All right, K-State for Trey. Blake, how about you?
Not so fast, my man. Not so fast. Oh, I think the Superdome, New Orleans Dome game. I think K-State's going to go down. I think it's going to be about 11-point game by Bama. I think Bryce Young and Will Anderson are going to make their case to make the big money at #1 pick this year. A lot of people sit out for these bowl games in the transfer portal, but I think Alabama's going to shut down Deuce Vaughn in the running game. So give me Bama -6.5.
I like it. Bama -6.5 for Blake. Unfortunately, this is a member lock for me on our website, bearsprofitplays.com. So come over to the site, check out the gameplay for my pick on that. Teats, how about you?
Dude, I'm all on that +7.5 for Kansas State. Kansas State has been so good this year, especially with Will Howard at QB. I think that there's no way that they don't come out after that win against TCU just with so much fire. I think that they'll take it to Bama.
All right, so 2K State and Blake's lone ride on his first pick on the
Right.
But he loves that. Let's move on to the Fiesta Bowl, TCU versus Michigan. Michigan's -7.5. Over under is 58.5. Teats, I'll start with you.
So I've been pretty much all against Michigan this year, and they definitely proved me wrong whenever they beat Ohio State, but I'm still going to pick against them. I'm taking TCU +7.5. I feel like Michigan hasn't played a whole lot of talent outside of Ohio State. I know they played Penn State, but Penn State's not the same year as they have been in the past. Like, they've been pretty average. TCU went through a gauntlet, and I think that TCU with a 7.5-point lead or spread, I think that TCU can do it.
All right. Again, unfortunately, since there are so little games on Saturday, this is going to be a protected pick for me on the site. So come check that out this weekend. Blake, I'll go to you next because I got a feeling you're on Michigan in this one.
Yep, I'm on Michigan -7.5. I mean, I think they've been the best team all year. I mean, Georgia, they're probably the best team, but Michigan, man, that running game, I mean, it's a top 5 running game, and TCU runs a 3-3-5 defense. I mean, they give up probably 150, 160 yards a game, which is about 150th in college football. So, I mean, I don't think they slow down Michigan's. I think they're just going to control the game, control possession. I mean, I think they're going to put up 35 points on them easy. I just don't think Max Duggan has the firepower to keep up. I think 35-21. I'd probably stay away from the over-under on this one.
All right, Trey, we're split. Decide it for us. Who do you got?
Gosh, I was going to go TCU +7.5. That's probably where I'm still going, but, Barto did a great job there trying to convince me otherwise.
Yep.
And my gut was going with Michigan, but whenever I looked at the trends, it kind of convinced me otherwise. And the line movement's kind of weird on this game. It started Michigan -9.5. Now it's Michigan 7.5. So give me TCU plus the 7.5. Michigan is 0-5 ATS in the last 5 bowl games. They've not been good under in bowl games. And then TCU is 9-3-1 ATS in their 13 games this season. So give me TCU plus 7.5 to keep it close. I don't think that they will win.
All right, you're on TCU. Let's move on to the Peach Bowl. This is going to be the best game of the night, in my opinion. Georgia versus Ohio State. Georgia minus 6.5. Over under is 62.5. Blake, I'll start with you because I want you to talk me off this ledge. Go ahead.
Man, I think you have it right, though. I think this is going to be the game of the week right here. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, I think, Georgia's defense, that's all we heard about coming into this year. But, Ryan Day's got a hell of a mind on the offensive side. So, I mean, they still got the weapons. I know they can get it done. I think they're kind of given a second chance, Then nobody thought they would sneak into that 4 spot, and so they're given another life. And, man, I really think they're going to take advantage of it. And I think they're going to win this game outright. So I'll go with the 6.5, and that's going to be my outright pick.
Wow. Yeah, I don't like Ohio State in this game. I know I'm going to go against some people in this pick, but Ohio State's lucky to be here. We saw what Ohio State looked like against Michigan. Georgia is Michigan on steroids when it comes to defense. Plus, Ohio State won't have star wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba. I did say that right. I looked it up. So I think this is a favorable line for Georgia. So I'm going to take the minus 6.5 and watch them dominate on defense against Ohio State. Trey?
Yeah, Georgia's head and shoulders probably the best team in the playoff by a wide margin. They're actually a minus 130 favorite to win the college football playoff. So they're projected to easily win the college football playoff. The only question is, are they going to cover this game by minus 6.5? I'm going to go with yes on that. I'm going to take Georgia minus 6.5 here. And the Trends agree with me. Ohio State is 0-3-1 ATS versus a team with a winning record. Ohio State is also 1-5 ATS in their last in their last 6 neutral site games. Georgia's 4-1 ATS in their last 5 neutral site games, and Georgia's also 8-2 ATS in their last 10 bowl games. So give me Georgia here minus 6.5. They should win this by a touchdown.
All right, Georgia, Ohio State. Teats, we gonna tie it here?
No, I'm taking the over.
Okay.
I just think that these two offenses are so solid that we are going to probably see the game of the year right here. Ohio State has so many weapons on offense, but Georgia is definitely – they've got the guys. Stetson Bennett shows up in these type of games. So I think that the over is a very good pick here.
All right, so you're on the over, but let's move on to our college football player props for Saturday. We're going to pick 1 to 3 player props on PrizePicks. We're going to start with Teats.
I wrote down 3. I had to kind of feel them out, and this is what's kind of calling to me. I'm looking at Kenny McIntosh over 59.5 yards rushing. I just think that this is going to be a high-scoring game, and I saw what Michigan did to that Ohio State defense. So I just feel like if Edwards can break off for like 70, 80-yard runs, Kenny McIntosh can definitely do it as well. I know that the Trends kind of agree, kind of disagree. He's averaging 75, so that's over it, but he's had a couple bad games. But I do like the over in this situation. The other one is going to be a little different. It's going to be receiving yard one, and it's going to be Jermaine Burton over 53.5 yards. He is the clear favorite receiver on the Bama offense. I feel like he's typically one of the first looked guys on that offense. I think that 53.5 yards can be done in like 2 or 3 passes. So I think that 53.5 for an entire game is very doable. And yeah, I'm just going to bring you 2 for this one. I'm going to take Burton over 53.5 and McIntosh over 59.5.
Only going 2. You said you had 3 written down, so you took that third one off. But I like the 2.
I took that third one off.
I like the 2 picks. I'm going to go ahead and go next. I have 1 play for Saturday. I'm going to do 1 play for Saturday, 1 play for Sunday, and make that a power play parlay. I'm going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. over 86.5 receiving yards against Georgia. Georgia, like I said, great defensively. They are first in the rushing defense, but 49th in the pass defense. Ohio State's going to be airing the ball out. This is going to turn to a shootout. Jackson Smith out. Harrison should have a big bowl game. So I'm going to take Harrison Jr. over 86.5. Blake?
I got 2 for you. I'm going to go along the same line. I really like the over in the Georgia-Ohio State game. So I'm going to go Stetson Bennett over 22.5 fantasy score. I just really think it's going to be a shootout, and he shows up in the big games. When pressure's on him, whether they're calling his phone late at night, he's on the do not disturb. He's got his mind ready to go. So the other one is, I think Bama's really going to shut down K-State's running game. Sorry, Trey, but I mean, Deuce Vaughn's 5'5". I mean, Will Anderson's probably got a 7-8 foot wingspan up there on the defensive end, so he ain't getting outside of him. I'm going to go under 100.5 rushing yards for Deuce Vaughn.
Oh, Trey's not going to like that. Trey, your picks?
You know what? As a K-State fan, I hate it, but as a bettor, I love it because I do know how good Bama's defense is, and I do know how small Deuce Vaughn is. So it's kind of hard to project how good he's going to be against that defense. But I'm going to only give one play today for the college football Saturday weekend slate. It's going to be Bryce Young. I do expect it to be a high-scoring game against Kansas State. Kansas State has shown even in the Big 12 that they can keep up with a 30-30 game. So I do expect this to be pretty high-scoring. In my heart, I don't want to bet this prop, but as a K-State fan, I know that their rush defense is pretty good, but they're pretty suspect on the back end. So give me Young to throw 2 or more passing touchdowns. He's going to at least throw 2, so at the worst, we're going to push it. But I do think that he's going to throw 3 against the Wildcats.
All right, that'll do it for our college football parlay or player props for Saturday. Let's move on to Sunday NFL games for this weekend. We're going to start with a great game, in my opinion. We have Panthers versus Buccaneers, Bucks -3, over under 40.5. Teats, I'll start with you.
I think this was going to be a quick one for me. The Panthers +3. I think that the Bucks have definitely slowed down as a team, and it is their division to lose, and I think they're going to lose it with this game. Carolina has been playing very well recently. Their rushing game has been really dominant, and Sam Darnold just seems to just gel with that offense very well. So give me Panthers +3 with this game, and I think this is going to be a nice hit. I guess 3.5 even.
Yeah, we need to be careful here so we don't run the table so the Panthers have a shot in this game. But I also like the Panthers to cover this game. The NFC South is a dumpster fire, and whoever wins this is most likely going to get the Cowboys in the playoffs. So good news for me. Tampa is so very bad right now, and the Panthers are playing much better football since they shipped CMC and cut Baker. I'm going to take the Panthers to win this game and tie up the NFC South going into Week 18. Blake?
This one was tough for me. I wasn't very confident in this just because what you said, they're playing good, and NFL likes to make some money too. So I could see him pushing this, division another weeks or so just to let Tom Brady get in. But, he don't mess around when he's got a chance to make the playoffs. I just think at home, it's hard to bet against the GOAT, man. I mean, I've been burned too many times doing that, especially at these low odds. I buy a point -2.5 or take money line. Three's a little suspect because, they tend to, fart around towards the end of the games and end up winning by 1 or 2. But, I think they're actually going to win by a touchdown and cover the spread this week. 24-17 Bucks at home.
I like it. So 1 Tampa, 2 Panthers. Trey?
I don't think I need to give my weekly spiel about how bad the Bucks are at covering football games. If you've listened to this YouTube channel in the past, you know that I hate betting on the Bucks, and I'm not going to do it. I refuse. The trends are terrible, and they're terrible because they can't cover. So give me the Panthers +3.5. The Bucks are 1-7-1 ATS in our last 9 home games. They're also 3-12-1 ATS in our last 16 games overall. And the Panthers, on the other hand, they're 5-1 ATS in our last 6 games overall. They're also 5-0 ATS in our last 5 versus NFC opponents. The trends are heavily on the Panthers, and I feel like the public's going to be heavily on the Bucks. So give me the Panthers here.
Hey, give me that back real quick. Just because Panthers' run game has been, outstanding the last few games, but I think that plays right into the Bucks' hands. They can stop the run, and they can cover one-on-one on the back end. And I just don't know if Sam Darnold can get a W over Brady.
I would say I'm benching Foreman in one of my fantasy championship leagues just because I can't trust him against the Bucks defense. So I agree with you on that.
Blake, 2 lone wolf games already.
Hey, what's the over-under in that game?
40.5.
Yeah, 41.5.
40.5. Yeah. I'd stay away from that.
Yeah, for sure. But let's move on to the Jets versus Seahawks. Jets are -1.5. Over-under is 41.5. Blake, I'll start with you.
I just think Mike White's coming back for this game, I believe, and he's a little banged up. And Seahawks at home, I don't know. That's a tough place to play. Especially for a quarterback probably hadn't played in that environment. Seahawks are still fighting for their chance to get in the playoffs. Give me Seahawks 17-10 at home.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and go next. This is a tough game, like you said, to call. The Jets have sent quarterback Zach Wilson to the gulag for the remainder of the year. We'll see if he can get out next year with a different team. But because I think his time as a Jet has finished, Seattle has been horrible against the spread since starting the season. Hot. Both teams are 1-4 in the last 5 games against the spread. I'm going with Seattle in this game because of who they've played in the last 2 weeks. They played the Chiefs and the 49ers, 2 tough opponents. The Jets played the Jags and the Lions. It probably doesn't affect the teams in the NFL, but in my mind, if you play 2 tough teams and you get an easy opponent, I just think things come easier in the next game for you. So I'm going to take Seattle money line in this game. Trey?
All right. Well, I may be lone wolf in this. Mike White is back, like Barto said, and as we've seen throughout this season, that gives this Jets team a huge jolt of energy, and we all know that their defense is already stingy. So I think this game's going to get ugly. The Seahawks have been god awful this last month and a half. So give me the Jets money line at -124. The Seahawks are 0-6 ATS in their last 6 games overall. They're also 0-4 ATS versus a team with a losing record, while the Jets are 5-2 ATS in their last 7 road games. And in this matchup, the favorite is 5-1 ATS in their last 6 games. All of that in a bucket stirred up. Give me Jets money line.
All right. Teats?
So I'm actually going to go over 42.5 about for every reason that we just heard right now. Dude, Mike White is back. I know he's banged up, but he still has the dog in him. He loves to throw downfield. And honestly, most of the receivers actually have benefited a lot from his game. And then on the flip side, I know Tyler Lockett is still banged up. He even might be out for this game. I can't remember. But they still have DK Metcalf. They've got Noah Fant. I mean, they've got some players. And Geno Smith, he seems to have slowed down a little bit, but I feel like this is the spark to get him back going right here at the end of the season.
I like it. All right, let's move on to the Vikings versus Packers game. Packers -3, over under is 48.5. I'm going to start here. Packers in December at home at Lambeau. Packers -3 is my pick. I'm still going to take that the Vikings are the 2020 Pittsburgh Steelers. They are frauds. So give me the Packers -3. Trey?
Yeah, this line just seems a little too fishy. It's a little weird. The Vikings are the number 2 seed, and the Packers are still on the outside looking in, yet the Packers are favored by 3. So it just seems a little bit too weird. I feel like the book is begging us to pick the Vikings here. So I'm going to look for Aaron Rodgers to keep the train moving. I'm going to take the Packers -2.5 at my pick, and they have it at -158, so I don't hate that. And the home team is 9-4 ATS in their last 13 meetings. The Vikings are also 0-3-1 ATS versus an NFC opponent this season. And the Vikings are also 3-10 ATS versus a team with a losing record. So give me the Packers here -2.5.
Packers. Blake?
Packers -2.5. Lambeau's going to be rocking. It's a division game. Like you said, December, he don't lose very often. I mean, he still got a dog in the fight. They're searching for a playoff. And I agree with Trey. I think the Vikings are probably their record doesn't, match up to where they're sitting right now. So, I think it's going to be, probably 7-point game, 10-point game. I just don't see, Packers losing at home.
I like it. Teats for the sweep?
I can't feel it. I can't feel it, guys. The spreads are just a little too weird for me. So I'm actually going to pick an over of 48.5 points. I think that the Vikings offense, Jay Jetta, he's a dog. Kirk Cousins, he still has his chains, even though he lost them the first half against Indy. I think that the Vikings overall as an offense are very good, and the Packers can definitely be scored on. And I think that the Packers are just the Packers. They're going to find a way to get Romeo Doubs or whoever they want to. That's some random player throw out there a touchdown or 2. Rodgers will have 3 touchdowns in this game probably.
All right, let's move on to our last game for Sunday Night Football. Steelers versus Ravens. Ravens are -2.5. Over under is 35.5. Trey, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to watch this game. We all know what to expect whenever the Steelers and Ravens go at each other. And just add in that this is Sunday Night Football, it makes me even that more excited. Lamar has been ruled out for this game, so it does take a little bit of the star power away from it. And these two teams did play earlier this month when Tyler Huntley was starting quarterback, so we do have a nice little sample size for what this matchup might look like. But for the Steelers, they did start Mitch Trubisky that game, so they're thankfully going to be running out Kenny Pickett in this game. So, and they did lose the Ravens beat the Steelers last time 16-14. But I'm going to go for a revenge game. I'm going to go Steelers money line at plus 122. The Steelers are 4-1 ATS in their last 5 games overall. Steelers are also 4-1 ATS in their last 5 road games, while the Ravens are 1-6-1 ATS in their last 8 home games. The Ravens are also 1-5 ATS in their last 6 versus the AFC North. So they've been struggling against their division. They've been struggling at home. Steelers have been good on the road. Give me Steelers.
Teats?
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Trey here on this one, but I'm not gonna go just the money line. I'm gonna take the plus 2.5. I think that the Steelers they're still fighting, but they're not the same Steelers that we know from before. But the Ravens are also kind of in that same boat. I don't think Tyler Huntley has it in him, but I think that Kenny Pickett, he could, and I would like to see what he can do in this game if Mitch is not playing. Hopefully they actually give him the opportunity.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and go next. Ravens are in the playoffs. That's confirmed. I don't think they will rush Jackson back. I don't know if he's ruled out yet or not, but I don't think he's going to play in this game. The top 3 teams in the AFC are all great: Bills, Chiefs, Bengals. So seeding doesn't really matter, in my opinion. They're going to play a tough opponent. So I'm going to go Pitt money line and try and stay in the playoff hunt. They need to win out and get some help, and it starts with a win in this game on Sunday night. So give me Pitt money line. Blake?
Yep, Ravens are in the playoffs, like you said. If Lamar plays, I don't think the spread's -2.5. So,
No.
It looks through Vegas. They're sitting them. They're going to probably sit them. But you know what? Harbaugh just doesn't lose games. Like he's competitive week in and week out. Like he just, even in the preseason, like I don't even know if they lost in 30 games or something like that. He just, it's at home, but. Steelers, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season on since he's been there. There's a lot of things on the line here. So I'm gonna lean, Ravens -2.5 just because they're at home and Harbaugh, but I don't know. I'm not very confident in this play.
Well, you saved us from a sweet jinx at least. So let's move on.
Barto's been lone wolfing quite a
Yeah,
bit.
dude, that's
I have
3
been
lone
lone
wolves.
wolfing today.
Man, he's gonna have a great record if this turns out well. Let's move out to NFL player props for Sunday. Let's move over to PrizePicks. Teats, go ahead and start.
So I'm going to bring you 2 again, just like I did college. I did the same thing. I wrote down 3. I like to go through them. I like to just feel with my gut. And I'm going to give you the first one, Jalen Waddle over 55.5 receiving yards. I feel like that's a very disrespectful line. I know that they're playing the New England Patriots. Their secondary is typically really good. And we're also playing with Teddy Bridgewater. But I still think that if anyone's going to get any sort of yards, Tyreek's going to be locked up. I think Jalen Waddle will be able to sneak by. 55.5 yards for these guys can be literally 2 catches. So I'd like to think that Jalen Waddle will have 4 or 5 catches in this game. He can hit 55.5. The next one, we're going to go over to rushing yards, and I have to throw some love to my Chiefs. Give me Isaiah Pacheco over 58.5 rushing yards. The last time they played Denver, he had 70, and he's been off and on doing incredibly well. I think he's got 4 of the last 5, and he literally just missed on the hook against Seattle. He's running a lot. The Chiefs are feeding him a lot, especially when they get up, and I would like to think that the Chiefs will get back up early in this game, and Pacheco will have to just burn the timeout with the rock.
All right, so 2 props for you on Sunday, Teats?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and go next. I have 1 prop. You're going to parlay this with my Saturday pick of Marvin Harrison Jr. The 1 prop for Sunday is going to be Travis Etienne over 73.5 rushing yards against the Houston Texans. Jaguars are playing some great ball recently, and a lot of that has to do with Etienne getting more opportunities. He sits at the number in back-to-back games, and he has a great matchup against Houston this weekend. The Texans are last in the NFL stopping the run. They give up 169 yards per game. So I think the Jazz will work Etienne in this game, and he should hit 73.5 against the bad Houston front. Right?
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys 2 props today. I only gave you guys 1 for college football yesterday, but I'm going to give you guys 2 props. The first one is going to be my favorite guy. I assume none of you guys are in any fantasy leagues with me, any of the viewers, but if you are, you know that I do love this guy. I love Drake London. That's going to be my first player prop, and they have him at 58.5. He's been crushing it over the last 3 weeks. The last 2, he has had Desmond Ridder under center, and he's been force-fed targets, and I love that for Drake London because he has the talent. He just has not been getting the targets with Mariota under center. And he is going up against the Cardinals defense. They are without Budda Baker. They did put him on the IR. and he's the only person worth noting in that Cardinals secondary. Drake London should go off against the Cardinals, especially since this is Desmond Ritter's first home game as a Falcon, so I like that. My second one is going to be another receiving yards prop, and I'm going to go with Christian Kirk. And like Bear said, this is a good matchup against the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans' best cornerback, Stingley, is on the IR as well. So, I mean, we got to attack with the where the teams are weak at, where they're going to be throwing up their backups. And this is a very low number for Christian Kirk. You can see last week he only got 22 receiving yards against the Jets, but that was in terrible weather conditions. So we got to take advantage of this low number. And Kirk has hit this number 9 out of 15 games this season. So give me Christian Kirk over 50.5 receiving yards and Drake London over 58.5.
All right, Blake, bring us home.
Hey, Mahomes over passing. That's my first one. I got 2 for you. We're going to go over Mahomes. I just think, I have, like Trey said, he's in my fantasy this year. I'm in the championship and I need him to go off. So that's the first reason I'm taking him. My next one is a little sleeper pick. Teddy Bridgewater's getting the start this week. And, his escape ability to get out of the pocket when, the Patriots play man-to-man, I think he could scamper for 6 yards. I believe his rushing over-under is 5.5. Yeah, I think he's a little sleeper pick right here. They play a lot of man-to-man on the back end. So, one, get out of the pocket. I think he could scamper for 12, 15 yards easily Sunday.
It is nice to see someone else pick a quarterback rushing prop. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to add that to my card. There's going to be a 3-player prop for me. Bridgewater, Marvin Harrison Jr., and ETN. I'm going to add that. That's a good pick. But let's move on to Dog of the Weekend. Last 2 segments of the show. Each of us are going to choose our favorite Moneyline underdog to pick. I'm going to go first. My Dog of the Weekend is going to be the Panthers to beat the Bucs on Sunday. Panthers are frisky. They're playing hard, and Tampa has looked awful. So I'll take Panthers to tie up the division this week. Trey?
Yeah, give me the Rams plus 6.5. We've seen them play like a whole new different team with Baker under center. They have sort of an edge to them, and they're trying their best to remain competitive in these games, even though, their star players are sitting out of them. So it is their backups going at it. But give me the Rams plus 6.5. The Chargers have been somewhat slumping in games that they should win. So give me the Rams here.
Blake?
Ohio State, like I said, game of the week. I think the spread is a little sketchy. I figured this when it come out, it was going to be, probably in the 11 to 14 range. When I saw it come out at 6, Vegas knows something we don't know. Maybe they know it's the game of the week, and who knows? Whoever gets the ball last could probably win it.
Teats?
K-State, man. The 2 teams, I see them just going in different directions. They're trending different ways. I think that K-State has the tools to beat Alabama, and I think that K-State is going to come prepared and come so motivated to beat Bama in this game.
All right, those are our dogs of the weekend. Let's finish up last segment on the show, the Parlay Lock podcast. Parlay Lock. I'm going to go ahead and go first. My Parlay Lock is going to be the Iowa versus Kentucky under 32.5. I don't take unders at all. But Vegas is giving us another challenge to bet this over. I won't be doing that. I'll be taking the under. Kentucky won't have quarterback Will Levis. He's off of the NFL draft. It's going to be a real shame. Iowa starting quarterback Spencer Petras is out because he's an under machine. But we will have Iowa third-string quarterback for this game, Joe Labas. Both defenses are ranked in the top 20 in total defense, 4th and 16th. This just feels like a weird score game. I expect a safety and some field goals in this matchup. So I'd love a 15-5 kind of game. So I'm going to take the under 32.5 for my lock. Blake?
I'm going to go Michigan minus 7.5. This is my most confident bet this week. I just think, the rushing attack on that 3-3-5 defense, just like the quarterback said this year, McCarthy, he's like, it's hard to stop the run in that defense. And, they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to change something up. They give up 150, 160 yards a game. That's not going to do it because Michigan could run for 300 easy, and I think they win by 14.
Teats?
K-State, Alabama. I'm a huge proponent of K-State, obviously, but Alabama has some dogs too. I feel like it's going to be a back-and-forth game, potentially down to the wire, but I feel like both teams are definitely going to come out and score quite a bit of points.
And Trey finishes off.
Yes, sir. I got the Falcons minus 5.5. The Cardinals are running out their fourth-string quarterback in this game, David Blau. We saw him on this season's HBO off-season Hard Knocks, and he got cut by the Lions. Couldn't even make the Lions roster. So this is going to be a rough game. This is going to be
Hey, Lions are good this year.
Yeah, it is.
So give me the Falcons -5.5. It's like I said, Ritter's first home game, so it should be electric.
All right, that is our podcast parlay, and that will do it for our picks, predictions, and player props for this weekend slate of games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel below. We'll see you guys next video, and thanks for watching.